This leg of the trip started with a flight from Male to the airport at Kooddoo. We spent one night at the Mercure resort there. We went on to the Conte Max the following day for a week of scuba diving. All of our diving was done between Vilagili in the north and Gamanafushi in the south. These spots are labeled on the Google satellite map on the east side of the atoll. The 110-foot long Conte Max was our home for a week. We did our diving from the Donny, which is shown in this photo. In the afternoon of our only day at Mercure, we did a snorkel trip, and just to see what was there, saw some schools of fish, saw a turtle, and we saw a sleeping shark. On this trip, we saw many fish we'd never seen before. This is a long-fin batfish. The blue fish are called red-tooth triggerfish. The black and white ones are black pyramid butterfly fish. I'm not sure, but these might be lunar fusiliers. Here's a healthy fan coral. An anemone with a Maldives anemone fish or two. Most of the time, the clouds that could have brought us some very nasty weather only brought us beautiful sunsets instead. I believe this is a spotted grouper. This is a Napoleon wrasse. These can get to be longer than a human, which would be a very heavy, large fish. This colorful fellow was a clown triggerfish. That's a common lionfish hidden in the coral. This is a good example of what I would call a coral bouquet. I believe this is a type of Clark's anemone fish. They weren't nearly as common as the Maldives anemone fish. The black and white fish appear to be humbug dacillus. Before each dive, we had a diagram that showed us a map of the plan. These barracuda were probably about 15 or 16 inches long and 60 or 70 feet away. The following minute or so will show the sort of thing that you can see as you're swimming through the reef. Various different kinds of coral, various different kinds of fish. Some coral healthy, some dead coral. Our depth here is probably only about 10 or 12 feet, maybe a little bit more, so the light is still fairly good. You can get you can see some of the color. This anemone is the home of some really tiny little anemone fish, just cute little rascals. In the video I can see a turtle right there on the left that I didn't even see while I was diving. but I can see it in the video. That fish is a peacock rockfish. They like to just park. This is a barrel sponge. A pretty amazing looking thing. It's hollow inside, has a lot of depth, which I couldn't have shown you with a camera, but with a video I can. In the pet stores, I think they call these angelfish, but they're actually called Moorish idols. We had an opportunity to go to a small sandy island, so I did throw my boomerang. That's the outfit I normally wore when I wasn't wearing a wetsuit. These are fan corals. They wave in the current. Here's another turtle resting. He's probably about a little over a foot and a half in diameter. As you might expect, this is called a mushroom coral. A coral bouquet with a clam in the center. A cloud of small fish. A lionfish hiding in the coral. More pretty and unusual corals. This clever bit of art, I was told, is the discharge from a sea cucumber. Most sea cucumbers are fairly drab, but not this one. Corals take many forms. These grow as feathers. We spent the night at anchor near the island where I threw my boomerang, and turned lights on into the water to attract the whale sharks. Actually, we didn't attract the whale sharks, we attracted the plankton that attracted the whale sharks. This is some of the plankton that accumulated in the water as a result of the light. And these are some small fish that were swimming around in that area. In the upper right, that shadow is a shark, a white-tipped reef shark, about 7 feet long. This is a school of blue-striped snapper. On this dive, we saw a few sharks. They're probably 5 or 6 feet long. They weren't a threat to us at all. I saw some tuna, schools of fish, more sharks. They're very sleek creatures. This Napoleon wrasse is a little larger than most of the ones we've seen. He might be up to about 2 feet long. A school of parrotfish. And here we get a flyby by some eagle rays. Kind of magic watching them fly over us. Another turtle to entertain. I think we have a circular batfish here. A black saddle coral grouper, probably 20 inches long. Another circular batfish, followed by a long fin batfish. The turtle approaching us is fairly small, but he certainly wasn't put off by us as he came by me within about 2 or 3 feet. Another larger turtle. This is a giant moray eel. They didn't seem very threatening to us. In fact, I saw some free swimming. And here's another flight of eagle rays. Another substantial Napoleon's wrasse. And another friendly turtle. It's a regular aquarium, only really, really big. Here's a turtle going up for a breath of fresh air. In this photo there are at least 2 sea stars and a clam. A turtle resting in the coral. And a colorful nudibranch among the coral. Another giant clam. This one's probably only about 8 inches wide. And these are probably groupers. A couple of gray nurse sharks sleeping in the shadows. These are probably 6 or 7 feet long. Another turtle seems a little disturbed by us, heading up for air. He has a cleaner shell than most. More circular batfish here. This is a Titan triggerfish. It might be that we're close to her eggs and she's trying to defend them. but she's being kind of aggressive. The reef is teeming with life. This turtle is being followed by a batfish. These are butterfly fish. I don't think I saw this variation anyplace else on the trip. Here we have Moorish idols going left and a peacock rock cod going to the right. A white spotted grouper, perhaps? Another black saddle coral grouper. A giant moray eel. And oriental sweetlips. White-tip sharks and many other reef fishes. And some divers, of course. Fortunately, we were graced with the presence of a eagle ray that was not particularly concerned about us. So he approached us, came fairly close, and gave us a good opportunity to look him over. He wasn't very large, probably only a 2.5 foot, call it wingspread. He didn't even mind that I was following him fairly close. Another circular batfish, just dealing with the current like we are. A spotted unicorn fish, possibly a rock cod. During our week on the boat, we did one night dive. First thing we saw was a turtle. Then there was this spot-finned lionfish. The turtles may have been bothered some by the light. A Myers butterfly fish, another lionfish. He's a mystery fish to me. A pair of neon fusiliers. Prior to this night, I did not know that trumpetfish could change from being plain to being striped. Here he is with his stripes. And now they disappear. This character is a banded shrimp. A barred thick-lip wrasse. This is a porcupine pufferfish. This one looks like a snapper, but I can't identify him. Possibly an Indian damselfish. This is a black-spotted or dogface pufferfish. Some unicorn fish don't have horns. I believe this is one. Another white-tipped shark minding his own business. The yellowfish is a long-nosed butterfly fish. Blueface angelfish behind some fusiliers. This fish is a trevally. This is how you expect a unicorn fish to look. This white-tipped shark was near us, knew we were there, but wasn't interested in us. I believe this is called a camouflage grouper. I think you can see why he'd be called camouflage. The fish is a trumpet fish. I have no idea why he has this desire to sort of attach himself to the pufferfish. This little guy appears to be a damselfish. Here we actually have an active common lionfish. This is a substantial size feather-tail stingray. This is a school of small spotted darts. I should point out that this is near the end of our trip, where we had 11 advanced open water divers whose object on every dive was to go deep and see big sharks. And that's what they did. And there were no injuries, no close calls. They saw a lot of sharks and enjoyed themselves, and the sharks didn't mind having them there. Sharks get a bad rap. Um, they certainly have the capability to do damage, but generally, with scuba divers and other people, they don't. This sea cucumber is willing to show us the tools he has for collecting food. We saw a lot, but there's so much left to see.